Hello everyone, and welcome to the Maine State Disc Golf Championship presented by Century 21. I'm Tristan Tanner, joined here in the box by Thomas Gilbert. How you doing, Thomas?
We're doing great. You're excited to watch the Maine State Championship?
Yeah, Maine is beautiful. Really excited to be up here. This part of the country is just incredible to be playing disc golf in. We have an awesome round one feature card for you guys. Simon Lizotte, Garrett Gurthie, Casey White, and Tyler Grady. I believe Tyler Grady's more of a local to this course, so it'll be fun to see him play. And then the other three names you guys all obviously know already.
Casey White being the returning champion at the Maine State Championships. I'm excited to see how he can play as the defending champion.
And you see leaderboard coming in hot earlier in the day before these guys teed off. Ezra started out hot, 5 down through 9. Trevor Harbault.
See you there as well.
Yep. Kyle Klein, a little bit of a rougher start compared to how he's been playing. Let's see if he can turn it around more towards the back 9. And this course is, what I've heard, one of the better in Maine. And starting off on hole 1, it's just a short little wide open hole with OB long, kind of a weird starting hole.
Yeah, and today the wind was up, so it was a strong right to left. And this was pushing a lot of people out of bounds. So you got to make sure to swing it nice and wide. And I'm kind of curious to see how the lead card plays it. Here we have up first Simon Lizotte. He was going with the PD2 Spike Hyzer in practice. Looks like he might have switched it up. Choosing between the Doombird. It's on the disc.
He chooses the Doombird FD3. See, playing it really wide, trying to get that push from the wind. Oh, and that's a great drive. Really well judged.
No pressure on that putt there. As I was saying, it's super windy, so keeping it close is very key.
This is Garrett with a Firebird, I believe.
Yep.
Similar line to Simon, but just a little bit shorter. He'll have a little bit more of a putt to make. This is Tyler Grady. I don't know his bag too well, but he is on Discraft.
So we throw in, looks like it'd be a mid-range. Probably something overstabled. It's got to check.
Sit.
That hillside just comes in super quick. And once you get on that downslope, there's no coming back.
And Casey opts for the forehand on this one with his champion Max. I like this play to try to fight the wind a little bit. You don't have to necessarily judge it as much.
Yeah, I also like that it fights away from the OB.
Yep. And he didn't quite commit to it. He's been making that mistake in practice a couple times as well. So he's going to have a choice to make if he wants to run that putt or not.
Yeah, this is definitely a scary putt. Putting right at OB. Tosses it up high, gives it a chance, but I'll be sitting there for his easy par.
Garrett doesn't even think about it. Tosses it up under the bucket.
Tyler with an interesting putt. This is extremely runnable, so he'll be trying to get his par safe.
Just a little bit low.
Wow. That bounced quite a bit off the tower as well. Time with just easy tap-in birdie on hole 1. That's the way you want to start this tournament off.
Clean up bogey for Tyler. And Casey and Garrett will both have drop-in pars.
Hole 2, this is a downhill par 3, 390 feet, and you want to just hit this initial gap, kind of turning it a little bit to the right, just opening up the fairway a bit more, and then hyzering back down to the left. This is a really tricky hole. I believe it played the hardest on the day, and you just want to, clean through there and hopefully get a putt. But it's definitely a runaway green. Let's see how these guys play it.
Yeah, like you said, the downhill really comes into play. Most of these guys will probably be playing either putter mid, maybe like slower fairway drivers, but you really have to get your nose angle right going downhill.
Simon opting for his MD3. Looks like he just left that on hyzer a bit too much.
See if he pushes enough. Okay, that should be fine for an up and down. That left side can be really tricky if you're a little bit shorter. The trees really play like jail over there.
Mm-hmm.
Garrett looks to be lining up a little bit more of a flex line.
Oh, and he hit the gap. Oh, just fade down the hill.
Not quite enough overstability or height on that one. I believe this is an MD3 from Casey as well.
Oh yeah, that's way over.
Wow.
Ooh.
That's just a misrelease there.
Yeah. Also didn't help that he had that right to left wind, so as soon as he got that on A, he just pushed straight to the ground.
Tyler going with a little bit of a faster disc here. Maybe trying to combat that wind a little bit. And similar mistake to... Oh, wow. That had a lot of flip on it.
Wow. So going with the understable driver, just catching one of the last trees on the hole.
That's fine. That should be inside circle 2 somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, and this looks like a really rough spot for Casey.
He's got a gator forehand up and over trying to get somewhere on the green.
I couldn't quite tell where that ended up, but I would assume somewhere in the circle 2 range. And this is just going to be a layup Sonic all day from Garrett.
Yeah, and this is one of those greens where it's really risky, so you have to kind of make that decision whether you're going to run the putt or lay it up, because if you accidentally choose that in between, it can roll away really quickly.
This is a putt you can run.
Yep.
Simon gives it a good bid. A little bit right side.
That needs to sit down.
Just a little bit high. Like you mentioned, this hole did average a 3.64 on the day, so one of the harder averaging par 3s.
Oh, and I just rushed that comebacker a little bit. Not going to be happy with that score on this hole this early in the round. Casey with a good cleanup for bogey.
Ooh. Squeeze that one in.
Yeah.
Simon and Garrett both with drop-in pars.
And Simon really almost with the, not ideal start, but you're definitely happy with birdie on 1 and a par on 2.
Hole number 3 is a really tricky right finishing hole. There's this early Anheuser gap for a backhand with kind of an overstable mid or putter trying to fight it out. But there's also kind of a sneaky forehand that pushes a little bit more straight and then has the right finish. But again, a lot of these greens are on these mounds, kind of faster greens when we're playing here in the woods. So this can be a really tricky one to stick close to the basket.
And if you are going for that inside gap, it's definitely better to use a more overstable disc just because how much Anheuser you have to put on it right off the tee. So Simon's going with that MD5.
Didn't quite commit to the Anheuser, it looked like, on that one.
That'll be all right. That's a 25-footer about uphill.
Garrett goes the wider Annie line, and that's a great shot.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, I really
it opens
like
up the hole and just lets that disc flex out naturally. It's kind of a trickier line, much tighter, but if you can hit it confidently, I think it might be the play.
Get around it.
Oh. And even though he caught a pretty early tree there, this hole is only 188, so he'll have probably a jump putt layup for his par.
Oh,
wow.
So nice. That angle control into the green, perfect, right out of his hand.
Yeah. Tags a little bit of the basket.
This is Casey with an MD, maybe trying to give it a little bit of a run. A little bit short.
Nice putt there by Simon. cleaning up his birdie. It's 2 under for the round.
Nice birdie from Garrett there as well. And Tyler should have a drop-in birdie. It's nice after some putting woes on hole number 2 to just have a drop-in that you don't really have to worry about.
Definitely stress-free birdies are always nice. Got Udis check-in. Matthew Enman with a hot start. 6 down through 8 holes. And then we got Joshua Seeley and Terry Rothsberger. Also 3 under through 6 along with yourself. And here we are, hole 4, 625-foot par 4. This is a hole that you just really want to crush. I mean, but you got to be careful of that right side OB. That's really the mistake to avoid on this hole. There's tons of room on the left side to hyzer out. But it really tempts you with this semi-reachable par 4 for these big arms at this event.
Yeah, and like you were saying, all that rough and brush on that right side all plays as OB. So just to crush out to the left side and leave yourself some sort of jump putt or soft approach into the green is all you need.
Simon looks like he's lining up something big here.
This is flippy DD3. And that needs to get stable quick.
Just like
it's trying.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
but
just
catches that rough.
Yeah, a little bit too much right movement. Good flight, just needed to start a little bit more left. This is one Garrett can definitely reach. This is a Halo Wraith, I believe.
Oh, and he smashes it up high. Oh, and it's just catching that little bit of extra turn.
And we should mention there was a slight right to left wind playing on this hole, maybe a little bit heady, that you couldn't quite feel from the tee, but once you got out into the fairway, you could definitely feel it. So as soon as any disc turned a little bit right, it really got dropped and didn't have enough power to hold.
Tyler playing just a nice safe hyzer. I mean, that's really all you really need to do on this hole. The upshot is, ooh, well, he catches that middle bush. So that's going to be a little bit trickier of an up and down than you'd expect. Let's see if Casey can put out a big drive with his DD3. I was feeling this disc, and it's amazing. So let's see if he gets a good smash on this one.
Yeah, and this one is a little bit more overstable, so he's trying to put it on a little Annie out of his hand.
Yeah, but starting on that left side, which was key for that shot there. And in a great position, he should have a up and down forehand, hopefully, for his birdie.
Garrett actually went out pretty early.
Playing it wide, trying to check it up into the hillside. And comes up a little bit short, probably about circle's edge.
Yeah, definitely. Simon from same spot, really. Oh, and a little bit of slip.
Check.
That's a great shot.
Very well done there.
It looks like Tyler was able to get a little bit backside on this bush, so he does have a stance. That can be really tricky there. Needs to hit.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Oh, great
Perfect shot.
Beautiful checkup. That looked like a raptor.
Yeah. Casey going with his money tactic. He is very good at this upshot right here and puts it real nice and close to the green. Garrett with a bit of a tester. Oh, and just a little high. It's tricky with this. On top of this mound, it really makes the basket look a little bit scarier than it might actually be.
Oh, no. Man.
That looked like a straight cut through.
Yeah, maybe a little left side, but he's definitely shocked with that one.
Yeah, look at him. Hand in face.
And man, for Garrett and Simon, that's really an unfortunate 5 for both of them, especially because they both have the power to potentially get a 2-look on this hole.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not what they were looking for. Casey and Tyler playing it pretty textbook, though. getting their threes and moving on to the next one.
Ever been in a balloon before?
It's our first time.
Hey.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the landing!
But how will we...
The landing!
Your offer's been accepted. Ever bought a house before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the closing!
But how will we...
The closing!
Hole number 5. This is another bomber hole, 530 feet, but this one playing back up the hill that we just played down on hole number 4. Playing with 16 feet elevation gain. This one is reachable for the top throwers, but most players are going to be kind of contending with this bush in a little bit, trying to miss left or right and leaving yourself with a short little approach. This is one of the easier holes we played on this day.
Yeah, and we had a little bit of a left to right tailwind on this hole. So this was kind of pushing the discs towards that out of bounds on the right, but definitely a good wind for distance.
Yeah, this one definitely tricked a lot of people because I think on the tee box it felt more tail left to right, but farther up the fairway there was a bit of head left to right wind. And so I think a lot of players were choosing more understable discs, which made that right OB come into play more. Casey going with his just send it DD3 again. Putting it on that Annie. And you see, it just holds.
Yeah, got tricked there. It's got to come short.
I'm not quite sure if that was inbounds or not. He is close to that line over there.
Simon looking to go big again, and that is sent way up high.
That is a big
and needs
line.
to come out of it.
It's on that right side as well.
Yeah, it looks to be
safe.
inbounds, yeah. Garrett again with that Halo Wraith. It seems to be his bomber disc of choice at the moment. Oh, and putting it way up high.
That's a beautiful angle too. Miss
Gotta
that
get
bush.
over the bush.
It's just right into it. That bush is placed perfectly for people trying to go for the pin.
Yeah.
Because that's right where you just wants to flex out, and it's so hard to miss.
Yeah, and it's really hard to get the power to just boom over it. Casey with a run here. Oh, kind of a little bit short, but that was a great approach.
I would assume that would be a zone from Tyler. The forehand approach. That should be no problem for a 3.
Good shot there with his P1X. Garrett just left with a little bit of a sonic shot. Maybe trying to give it a run.
Great height.
Oh
my
my
gosh. So close to ringing up the 2.
He's so good with that shot.
Seriously. Feels like it's never that far away from missing chains when he's throwing that disc.
Nice cleanup there by Tyler. Looks like we just have a few short putts.
That was Casey for par, so he was out of bounds off the tee.
Yep.
But other than that, a lot of 3s is pretty common on this hole,
Yeah, for sure.
especially for these top players.
Here we have hole number 6. This is a dog leg right, par 4, 492 feet. You want to throw almost like a sawed off forehand on this hole, or just a really floaty backhand turnover. You really don't want to go any further past this road, or else it pinches off the angle to the basket. And it's kind of deceiving the way this road goes up and then back down. You can really get the distance gauge like kind of messed up. I was throwing like putter approaches in practice and then used a Bushnell rangefinder, and it was actually like 320 feet to the basket. So you definitely want to make sure to keep it tight here.
Like you mentioned, wanting to saw it off the tee a little bit. It's almost like you're throwing a higher speed disc soft on a lot of hyzer.
Yes.
It's a very unusual shot that we don't throw a whole lot. Mm-hmm. And Simon not throwing forehands right now, so he's electing for the backhand turnover with an MD, actually. That looked to be a little inside. Needs to get lucky through the trees.
Okay.
That's not bad. There is that little bit of an early gap that if you go early, you can still have a line to the basket.
Yeah. Garrett going for the sidearm.
Oh.
Looked early.
Wow. That got such a good reaction off that tree.
That's in a perfect position.
That's an ideal drive after a not ideal release.
Casey going with that super overstable max. Going pretty high with it.
Wow.
That's in a good position right there on the road. This is a really tricky hole. It usually gets a lot of people just trying to cut that corner too tight or pushing that forehand too long. And there is a line out over the greenhouse if you do push it too long, which is pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, and that's another shot that just got an amazing kick off the tree inside circle 1.
Yeah.
I don't really know what's happening for this card on this hole, but they're getting some good breaks for sure.
There, going with that trusty color glow rock, flipping it up almost the entire way.
Needs to sit down.
And there is that hillside on the back of the green that can come into play and be pretty tricky.
Simon throwing. Was that a night strike that he
believe
threw?
It was.
That? Very interesting shot because of the stance, choosing a little bit of a faster disc, but he as well finds that hillside that just filters out to the edge of the circle. This is Casey with a straighter FD3. Needs to sit down. That is not the putt you want to have on this hole. There was quite a bit of wind on this green, and with the elevated basket and that hillside, that is a death putt.
Oh, wow.
Throws it in with the AVR X3 from just outside the circle.
That was fantastic.
Incredible putt there.
Whoa. A miss there from Simon, but he'll have a comeback for about 25 feet. Casey. Oh, wow. Super confident with that putt there.
Sick putt. I had a very similar putt in this round, and it's so hard to hit from there.
Good cleanup there from Simon. I can get a bit nervy, especially just airballing the previous putt. And Tyler with a great fortunate approach. Oh no. Can't capitalize.
Didn't quite commit to the putt with that right to left headwind. Pushes out left side. Definitely needs to find some confidence on the green. Moving later in the round. You see Matthew Enman still hot with Ezra and Mark. And a handful of others at 4 down. This front section of the course is definitely probably the most scoreable. Before we move into this kind of tricky stretch now, we move more to wooded holes, a little bit tighter gaps, and some more hills. This one is a right to left moving shot. It's a kind of a shorter par 4 coming in at 400 feet. Players are going to be choosing a more overstable driver and throwing it on hyzer, trying to get a skip somewhere near this road up onto this green. But this one, not a whole lot of people are getting 2 looks at.
No, definitely not. And it is kind of that tweener par 3, par 4. I mean, the distance shows that there, but it is a really tricky shot to get up onto the green just to have a putt. Really requires you to play this almost tight to this white tree here. Garrett, I like this shot being a little bit higher as well, as long as it misses those branches.
He chooses Firebird.
All right, so it looks like he came up a little bit short, didn't quite get that skip up the hill.
And Casey goes a little more unconventional play on this hole. Goes for the turnover forehand.
I think if he can get this shot perfect, it could have the best potential to get up there on the green.
It contends so much with those
Those branches.
That
branches.
was gonna be perfect.
And that's one, I bet he's had success with that in the past, but then it's really probably the hardest shot to execute on this hole.
Mm-hmm. I like this. Oh,
Just barely inside.
if that was about 3 feet wider, I think we would have seen a shot on the green.
Mm-hmm.
Simon going with his favorite FD3, Anna. This is a super beat up FD3. He'll be throwing on a super hyzer.
Oh,
Ooh.
no.
That causing him to pull it just a little bit too wide and catches those outside trees, and that'll be a tricky approach, making it more of a par 4 for himself.
Did he choose PD2 on that?
It looked like it was.
Interesting play, trying to just jam it into the hill.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to play a little extra ground play, not have to test that ceiling as much. Oh, and this is a really tricky spot for Tyler. Oh, and that's beautifully done.
Wow. Great angle control there.
Wow, really good. Right next to Simon, close to the edge of the circle.
Good angle control there from Casey with that tactic again. He's really dialed in that shot this season. Let's see, a double G can give us a run. Wow. So close again. He is just on the basket with that Sonic. See if Tyler can save his birdie.
Oh, and he does.
What a great putt
Great.
there.
Take another look at that. Wow, great speed control.
Mm-hmm.
Dropping it right in. And like you mentioned, it does feel like when you're putting 4-3 on this hole, it feels like you're saving a birdie. It does feel like you should be 3ing this hole pretty much every time with maybe some looks at 2. On Simon, not quite able to save that birdie.
Yeah.
Going to be taking a 4 probably.
Nice 3 there. Pretty textbook there from Casey.
And this hole did come in as the easiest hole on the day. It averaged 3.44. So 0.6 of a stroke under par.
Yeah.
Hole number 8. This is a really interesting par 3. We have this hill where this road is, and it feels like you need to flex it off the tee, but really you just need to throw a straight shot that has a soft fade at the end. But you really want to be pushing forward and down the whole entire flight.
Yeah, with how downhill it is after that little null, it's really hard to just keep that disc going straight. Usually it'll kind of want to stall out left and leave with pretty tricky putts and approaches.
This looks great.
Wow. Keeping on a dead straight line. There's a bit of fade.
Oh,
And he got it.
Breaking perfectly. Going to be just inside the circle.
And honestly, that's a fantastic shot. I was talking to the spotter earlier today, and he said that he only saw maybe 2 or 3 shots from the MPO field inside the circle.
Wow.
Ooh, that should be good.
This looks really good too. Wow. Casey's just got this shot dialed.
That is so good. Throwing that MD3.
Tyler, just looked like he flipped it a little bit too much. He knew it out of the hand. That's going to leave a tricky approach. Those trees can get a bit thicker up there, so he'll have to navigate that lane somehow.
And like you had mentioned, only 12% of the field was in circle 1 in regulation on this hole, which is very unusual for a 300-foot par 3.
Mm-hmm.
Simon's MD3 going just a little bit too hard left, finding those trees and dropping down to the edge of circle 2.
Oh, nice. First branch. That was hard to do.
Just couldn't quite get the height on that run. And I heard you did something pretty interesting on this hole.
Yeah, I kicked left early off the tee, which is not where you want to be. And I had just a 5-inch window, it felt like, way back in the woods, through a forehand roller to about 50 feet and drained the putt. It was the best 3 save I've ever had.
Oh, and Garrett knocking down a huge putt for the birdie. That is a great stroke to pick up on this field. Not one you see very often.
Gotta love that one.
Nice birdie there by Casey as well.
Bye, Casey. Sorry.
Only 14% of the field was able to snag the birdie on this hole. It was really a bonus birdie on this day. And this one, hole number 9 as well, really felt like a bonus birdie. It's only 350 feet, but the way the hyzer and the uphill plays, you almost need to throw a much faster disc than you would normally for this distance just to get the push up high on the hill, because everything filtered down to this short side of the green.
Yeah, and you can't play just a straight up hyzer because it'll skip a little bit too far left down the hill, so you almost have to push it straight through that gap and then have it kind of filter down the hill on the backside. Garrett just looks just a little bit too flat. Yeah, he's going to catch those backside trees.
Yeah, it looked to be some sort of fairway driver that he chose on that.
He looks to be
Oh, that's wide.
just too straight.
Could be worse.
Ooh, and that'll leave him with a long approach, but shouldn't be too bad from there. Can get pretty tricky if you hit those trees early. See, that looked really good out of the hand, but just again too straight. But that'll leave him with a long putt.
Yeah, because of the uphill, the disc doesn't want to fade as much as it normally would.
Yeah.
Hitting those right side trees is so common. And Simon
Oh,
with
wow.
another grip lock.
That was a shank, and you can see it on his face there. He is not pleased with that shot.
And he takes no time on this. Throwing a P1X. And that, wow, that is an incredible shot.
That was great. He knows those discs very well. Playing with them for a long time. Most of them on ace runs. So
Yep. Garrett just laying up with the Sonic. Casey does just have a little jump putt. Doesn't look to be running it. Just conceding and taking a 3. Tyler does have a look for the 2 here.
here's me line this up. Floaty.
Safe Annie.
Oh.
Wow. Great height.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little bit short.
I really like the way that he played that anhyzer into the hill, making sure that it won't filter down left too far after the run. Yeah, just a few cleanups for par here.
Showed bogey for Simon, but
Maybe he had a trickier approach that we missed. He was playing really quick, so maybe just didn't quite catch that first upshot. That's going to wrap up the front 9. Here we have a scores check-in for our card. Garrett at 4 under par, Casey 3, Tyler Grady 2, and Simon 1 under par. Not quite the start that he would probably want. There's lots more holes left on the back 9 that are very scoreable.
yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to catch the back 9 of Maine State Championship Round 1.